Okay. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, so as a revision, chapter 1, 2 and 3, I already shared with you guys the video, recorded video for our for the 3 chapters, revision for the 3 chapters. Okay, now we look at the chapter 4, which is regarding the project infrastructure. Okay. So again, we look at the learning objective. The first one is regarding the project life cycle that I already explained during our first or second week, and then last week I already shared the recorded video for the chapter 1, which is chapter 1 and 2, which is regarding the project life cycle. You need to remember the project life cycle is the main life cycle for the project, and inside of the project we have the system development life cycle. Okay, and then define the project infrastructure, describe the governance and the role, and on top of that we also need to understand the roles for the project manager and the project team, and how we can select the project team. Okay, how a project acquire both internal and external resources. Okay, because sometimes we just need sometimes we need both of these resources, okay, internal and external. The next one, understand and describe the project environment. Okay, what are the situation, what are the potential risks, so on and so forth. Okay, the 3 general categories for the procurement, project contract, and how we can develop the project charter, as well as we need to understand the relationship to the project plan. Okay, so this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay, apa kita kata, and 7 ni item. So these are the when we in the project planning phase, we need to answer all of these following questions. Okay, work that need to be done, who will do the work, the resources needed, okay, when will they do the work, so we need to have the timeline, how long will it take, okay, related to timeline, related to Gantt chart, how much it costs, okay, related to the budget, and does the time, money and resources invested support the project MOV. Okay, so we need to understand that the project, we have the infrastructure, the governance structure, okay, we have the stakeholders, we have the project manager, and on top of the project manager there's a management side, okay, the required resources that must be obtained, as well as the project charter. So at the end of this chapter, we should be able to see on how we can develop the project charter. Okay, the project infrastructure, we already look at the MOV, the project objective, and we need to know and remember as well that we have the governance and the resources. Governance means that in terms of the management, in terms of top person, in terms of how we can manage overall of the organization, as well as overall of the project management. Okay, should project governance flow from the organizational governance. Okay, as I've mentioned before, we need to look at the structure, authorization, okay, who authorized, who eligible to do this, who eligible to sign this and that, okay, oversight and accountability, who should be responsible for this kind of task, okay, who can make decision making. Either is one man show means that only one person eligible to do the decision making, or it should be through the a process of meeting, process of tender, process of contract, so on and so forth, and what are the resources available. Okay, in terms of project governance, we have the organizational governance and the project. Okay. So the alignment, the strategic alignment for the business value, it should come from the project governance and organizational governance. Okay, so as for us, we are here in terms of the project. So the bosses here, the project governance, and a boss to the apa nama, the management, okay, should be here, organizational governance. So in terms of authorization, oversight and accountability, as well as the decision making and resources, it should come from the organizational governance, go down to the project governance, and go down to the project. Okay, for example, we have the project manager. The project manager is somebody who lead the project. The project manager punya boss maybe the kita kata senior manager. Okay, maybe senior manager here. So senior manager ni dia akan ada a few project that he or she accountable to that particular project. Okay, so senior manager ni on top of ni dia akan ada general manager. So general manager ni ada lagi lah dia punya all of the bosses is here. Okay. So in terms of the project manager, we need to look at the managerial role and leadership role. Because of not only leadership on how he or she can lead the project, managerial pun sangat penting because of it's not only lead, they also need to know how to manage the project. Okay, so these are the attributes. Okay, able to communicate, able to deal, able to create and sustain relationship, and able to organize. Okay, so semua ni macam you all semua bila you buat your kita kata assignment, project, so you need to polish or you need to enhance your skill related to this. Okay, before this nak bercakap pun takut. So lama-lama bila you dah familiar, you dah biasa with the presentation, you should be able to communicate well and you know to communicate to this kind of people. Okay, macam mana cara nak bercakap dia? To communicate dengan your friends macam mana? To communicate, you nak deal macam bila you buat satu-satu event kan, you nak deal dengan staff HCP, you nak deal dengan nak jemput PR ke. So these are the things that you need to know and you need to develop as well as polish. So at the end of your study, okay, so bila you pergi internship nanti, you sepatutnya dah ada lah all of this. Okay, mungkin ada kita kata kalau range 1 to 10 mungkin you ada 3, 4 mungkin. Okay, then bila you start kerja semua, you akan deal lagi. Okay, and at one time, you memang akan belajar and you should be able to know how you can deal with people. Orang yang bermasalah, macam mana kita nak deal. Orang yang banyak songeh, macam mana kita nak deal. Okay. And you need to know how to organize. Okay. Sebab itulah pentingnya, you need to know the Gantt chart, you need to know the duration for each of the project. So apa kena buat, bila, kena siap. Okay. So as a project manager as well as for the team members, okay, as for the team members, the project team, they need to have the technology skill. Okay, project manager dia akan organize, dia akan manage. These people, okay, dia mesti ada satu skill or technology skill that memang kat dia lah. Contohnya the developer, the programmer, okay, dia memang terror lah bahagian coding, dia tahu kat mana semua. Okay, dia terror bahagian video editing. So these are the technology skill that for each of the team members kena ada. So biasanya kalau you buat project, katakanlah multimedia project, then kena ada video specialist, audio specialist, content specialist. So inilah orang yang kita panggil as a technology skill. Okay, business and organisation knowledge you perlu ada. Okay, so that whatever yang the project manager akan highlight tu, you have some idea on how to go about. Okay, interpersonal skill, because you need to communicate within the team members and you need to communicate with the project manager. And sometimes mungkin you akan bersama-sama dengan project manager to present or discuss dengan stakeholders ke. Okay. So in the formal organisation, we have the formal grouping and specialisation. Means that memang ada specific person for specific task. Okay, so publish line of authority, responsibilities, reporting relationship, communication and decision making. Okay, so macam yang saya cerita tadi lah, the manager, senior manager, general manager. So for each of these role, they have their own authority, responsibility and so on and so forth. So contohnya decision making. Kalau senior manager boleh buat decision in term of what? Kalau general manager, setakat mana dia boleh buat decision? Ataupun dia orang tak boleh buat decision, it should be in the meeting, okay? Consensus punya decision. Semua orang setuju, this and that. Okay?
Madam.
Sorry?
Sorry kacau. Mursyid nak masuk tapi tak dapat.
Sepatutnya boleh sebab saya dah set. Okay, minta dia try lagi sekali. Sebab saya dah set auto allow ni. Saya dengar tapi saya tak ni lah sebab saya dah set auto allow. Tu boleh?
Okay, dah masuk dah.
Okay.
Thank you, madam.
Okay. Terima kasih. Jadi, okay. So in term of the okay. So in term of okay, this is the example that I give just now. We have the project manager for project A, project B, project C. Okay. Then we have the kita kata mungkin senior manager. Okay, so kat sini maybe senior manager. So for the project manager, dia ada pula dia punya team members. Okay, so project manager ni ada pula team members dia. Okay, so this gonna be the senior manager, dan atas ni general manager. Okay, so ni tengok project manager untuk project A, project B, project C. So these are the apa kita kata organisation and the project resources. So this is the resources in term of the team members and project manager. Yeah, so kat sini mungkin ni audio specialist, video specialist, content specialist. Okay. So we have the in term of functional organisation. Okay, yang ni functional organisation. So we have the we look at the advantage and disadvantage lah. Okay, so setiap tu project based and the metric organisation. Okay, to make it senang sikit saya buat macam ni. Okay, so this one saya keluarkan dia functional. Okay, so in term of functional, you can see sini, saya kecil. Okay. Okay, so you boleh tengok dengan detail functional, apa advantage and disadvantage. So in term of project base, ada satu yang saya buat saya siap. Okay, so in term of project base, keluar sikit. Advantage and disadvantage. So this is the project base. Okay, and then in term of metric organisation, so nanti saya akan apa kita kata update balik semula dia punya slide ni. Okay, so in term of metric organisation, so you can clearly see the difference lah. Okay. So in term of procuring means that the procurement external project resources, macam mana kita nak dapatkan external of project resources. So we look at the project resources can be internal or external, or it can be both. Okay, so the decision, we look at the project scope, the availability, the cost, the quality, terms and condition, and we also look at this one, experience and skills of the team members. So kita nak tengok juga lah. Okay. So either we want to make or buy decision. So bila kita nak buat outsourcing, okay, include offshoring is one option. So kita kena tengok the project that we want to develop, okay, it's either we want to resources that we want to acquire is either we can make or we can buy. Maksudnya kita boleh beli, kita boleh ambil daripada external, or we can develop in the from the team members ke. Okay. So the project outsourcing model, okay, kalau full insourcing, acquire internally, full insourcing internally. So the project team responsible for all the project process. Kalau selective outsourcing, dia akan ada ni lah, project require internal and the possible project team is responsible for many of the project process. The remaining resources and project process are outsourced externally. So ada dua-dua. Kalau full outsourcing, memang kita project resources and process, responsibility of the external sources. So kena tengok which one yang kita nak ambil. Okay, the combination of full insourcing or full outsourcing. Dia punya term senang nak ingat ni. Insourcing maksudnya internal. Outsourcing totally external. Yang tengah tu adalah combination internal and external. Okay, so for the procurement planning, focus only what can best be filled internally or externally, but we need to take into consideration on how, when, how many and where this product or service will be acquired. Kat mana nanti kita nak guna. So normally we have the request for proposal that we can develop and use to solicit bids or quotes or proposal for the service. So kena tengok lah. Contoh lah, resources. Kita nak dalam tim kita tak ada video specialist contoh. Okay. Either you can outsource, cari freelance ke buat video tu, or you can hantar one person in your team pergi belajar. So kita tengok lah yang mana lagi worth. Either you want to buy or you want to make. You want to buy maksudnya you can get freelance untuk buat this particular part, okay. Ataupun you nak train your people, because of kalau train you fikir for the next project mungkin boleh guna itu lagi. Okay. So we have the contracts between sellers and buyers. Okay, so what is the contract? Document signed by the buyer and seller that define the terms and condition of the buyer-seller relationship. So contract dia mesti between both between two parties, and dia mesti define terms and conditions. Mesti ada. Okay, ni akan tentukan the relationship between buyer and seller. So IT serve as a legally binding agreement that obligate seller to provide specific product. Okay, bila you buat sistem ke whatever project lah, one of the things that we need to take into serious consideration adalah the scope of the project. Okay. Kalau you tak clear, katakanlah you nak develop a system untuk MySejahtera tu yang saya ada highlight awal-awal, that to trace, to monitor the ex-COVID patient punya kita kata condition, apa benda lah. Okay. So kalau you tak clearly stated scope dia hanya untuk bekas pesakit COVID, dia akan jadi, orang akan tanya, boleh tak masukkan yang baru, yang pesakit yang baru kena ke, dia akan masuk macam-macam elemen. So kalau you clearly understand that your system ataupun your project ni hanya fokus on ex-COVID patient. Okay, so dia dah clear. Sama juga ya bila you buat your final year project, it should be clear your system is about what. Okay, kalau tak orang akan cakap, boleh tak? Contohnya you buat e-commerce system untuk jual pre-love item, kan? Kalau dulu second hand je nama dia, sekarang nama dia cantik sikit, pre-love item. Okay, lepas tu sistem you memang spesifik untuk tu. Kalau both parties ni tak clearly agree and sign contract and condition tu semua, nanti company yang minta you develop the system akan minta, oh boleh tak kalau barang baru nak masuk juga, whatever lah, banyak lagi benda-benda lain yang disuggest untuk masuk. Sedangkan sepatutnya tak hanya fokus on the pre-love items. Okay. So categories of procurement type contract, it can be fixed price or lump sum contract. Okay. We have a total fixed price. So memang macam tu lah. Okay. So include incentive for meeting certain performance objective or penalties if those objectives are not met. Okay. So kalau performance bagus yang awal mungkin ada insentif, kalau lewat kena penalty. Cost reimbursable contract, okay, made to the seller to cover the seller's actual direct cost and indirect cost. Okay, this can include incentive for meeting certain objective or penalties pun ada. So it can be type dia ada cost plus fee or cost plus percentage, cost plus fixed fee and cost plus incentive fee. Okay. So ini dia explain detail about the cost reimbursable contract. And the next one is regarding the time and material contract. Okay, this is a hybrid for both fixed price and cost reimbursable contract. So buyer pays the seller for both the time and materials required to complete the work. Resembles a cost reimbursable contract because it is open-ended and full cost of project is not predetermined. But it can resemble a fixed price contract if unit rates are set. Okay. So sama juga macam sekarang orang buat a concept of dropship. So dia ada dah agreement dia kan. Kalau dropship, you beli certain ni ataupun bila you achieve certain sales kan, dropship ni dia tukar iklan, lepas tu dia akan ambil order dan company tu akan direct post barang tu pada buyer. Oh ada juga setengah tu dia jadi dia simpan stok.
Agent.
Sorry?
Kalau yang agent lebih kurang macam tu juga.
Lebih kurang tu dia banyak kita kata banyak terms and condition dia.
Oh.
Kalau agent mungkin macam tadi yang dropship tu kalau ikutkan definitionnya dia memang tak pegang barang kan.
Dropship dia order dia macam orang tengah kan.
Ya, dia orang tengah.
Agent yang ada barang dia.
Ada juga yang ada barang.
Oh.
Kalau ikutkan yang sebenarnya dia ada certain macam agent macam ni dia punya definition dia. Dropship macam ni definition dia. Lepas tu apa yang dia orang tengah tukar beli barang tu
personal shopper.
Yes, personal shopper. Personal shopper pun ada pula dia punya ni kan. Kalau personal shopper yang kita faham dia akan ambil order contohlah saya nak beli barang, saya minta Ayu jadi Ayu adalah personal shopper. So saya akan order dengan Ayu beli barang ni semua kan. So dia akan pergi beli. Ada juga term personal shopper, dia guna term personal shopper tapi bukannya buyer yang hire dia, bukan buyer yang beli untuk dia, company yang hire dia sebagai personal shopper. Macam itulah. Saya pernah ada student buat projek ya, dia guna term personal shopper. So dia memang quite confusing lah because of yang kita faham personal shopper ni adalah kita as a buyer, kita minta dia beli barang untuk kita kan. Itu personal shopper yang kita faham. Ini ada juga personal shopper yang company, saya tak tahulah hire ke apa term dia, tapi dia personal shopper kepada company. Okay. So
Faham.
macam itulah dia punya term, tapi masa student tu buat, saya memang apa kata, dia kena guna term lain lah, agent ke whatever lah, sebab nanti dia akan jadi confused bila guna term personal shopper yang kita faham. And this term semua ni, dropship, personal shopper, agent tu macam lama dah. Ini semua adalah term-term baru bila startnya e-commerce, e-business punya situation. Sebelum ni memang tak ada pun dropship tu semua. I mean kalau ada tapi nama dia mungkin lain. Sama juga macam pre-love tadi. Kan sebelum ni kita tak guna pre-love pun, kita guna second hand. Tapi saya faham juga dia term pre-love tu barang yang dijual tapi memang barang yang sayang lah, tapi terpaksa jual ke whatever condition lah. Tapi sebenarnya kalau nak kira second hand lah. Kan? Kalau dulu kita guna term second hand.
Yang macam bundle tu second hand kan?
Bundle tu ada yang second hand, ada yang
Baru.
dia reject baru. Dia reject because of ada apa
Original reject lah.
yes, ada production, ada error, error sikit-sikit. Ada juga. So tak semestinya bundle tu adalah second hand sebenarnya. Tapi kebanyakannya second hand lah. Tapi ada juga barang baru sebenarnya. So sebab tu sebenarnya this kind of definition sepatutnya memang ada and semua orang can understand lah. Tapi bila ada pula company ataupun yang menggunakan term macam saya sebut tadi, personal shopper, tapi bukan personal shopper untuk personal shopper untuk company. Okay, for your information saya pun baru tahu bila ada student buat projek, rupa-rupanya memang ada this so called personal, saya panggil agent lah, agent kita panggil agent personal shopper. Saya tak tahu lah apa term, saya tak ingat dah student tu guna term apa. Dia ni adalah khas untuk beli barang-barang branded yang sangat-sangat mahal, yang memang ada certain client yang memang deal dengan dia untuk beli, contohnya handbag lah, tudung lah, apa yang memang mahal, yang memang limited edition yang tu. So
betul
dia
madam, ada.
So dia akan jadi so-called agent personal shopper not only to the customer, at the same time kepada company juga. So bila company memang ada produce barang ni yang limited edition ni, so dia yang akan contact the buyer. So dia jadi kita panggil agent kepada both lah. Okay. So saya macam baru tahu, macam contoh nak beli hari tu contoh apa, handbag ke apa yang limited edition yang berpuluh-puluh ribu punya harga. So memang ada certain client ni dia memang nak. So saya macam ada yang orang macam tu, tak apalah, dia agaknya berpuluh ribu, bagi dia tu macam 2-3 ribu je lah kot. Okay. Tapi memang ada. Okay. So kalau kita guna term ni sebagai personal shopper, dia memang akan confused lah kan. So personal shopper ni dia PS kepada klien ke dia PS kepada company. So sebab tu memang saya salah seorang yang kita kata highlight, memang tak boleh guna the same term, nanti orang akan confuse. Okay, so in terms of the project environment, okay, we look at the place called home tu, maksudnya the organisation of the place that we develop her system kan. Okay, the technology that we use, technology that we have, the office supplies, okay, the culture, the team members macam mana, the role for each of the team members clear ke tak. Kadang-kadang yang tu kata tu kerja kau, yang tu pula kata tu kerja, bukan kerja aku, kerja kau. Kalau tak clear kita kata scope ataupun tak clear pembahagian between the team members tu. Okay, lepas tu bila ada conflicts, how to resolve. Okay, sebab kadang-kadang kalau kita kerja ni, kalau kita bagi idea, orang akan minta kita lah yang laksanakan idea tu. Okay, dah lah kita dah bagi idea. Lepas tu kita juga kena laksana, orang lain tak apalah idea dia je buat sepenuhnya. Sometimes end up je, baik tak payah bagi idea, duduk dia diam je. Okay. Lepas tu ada juga orang yang dia just don't care. Apa nak jadi, dia hanya buat benda yang orang suruh buat, dia buat. Tak ada langsung idea kreatif nak buat this and that, tak ada.
Dia
Bagi dia,
one way communication lah.
boleh jadi juga. So kadang-kadang kalau one way communication ni, ada tu dia memang, kalau yang jenis kita kata so called, tak tahulah saya term dia cerdik atau berkira, tapi dia memang tak nak pun keluarkan idea buat something extra, tak. Orang suruh A, dia buat A je. Ada juga yang jenis orang suruh A, dia buat ABC. Sebab dia akan nampak, oh benda ni boleh buat macam ni. Rajin bagi dia untuk membantu lah. Tapi ada juga orang akan ambil kesempatan, oh dia ni nampak bagus, bagi dia kerja. So sebenarnya mana-mana you pergi tempat, you akan jumpa situasi macam ni. Orang yang boleh buat kerja akan sentiasa diberi kerja. Orang yang memang diam aja, buat relax je, lepas tu buat, ada tu dia buat, dia tak capable untuk buat kerja, padahal dia boleh aja, supaya tidak dibagi kerja. Ada juga. Okay, so saya saya memang kerja 2 tempat saja, satu UTP, sekarang UiTM, tapi daripada kawan-kawan saya yang kerja, daripada bila kita orang jumpa, tanya-tanya lebih kurang, memang mana-mana pun memang ada this kind of people. Backstabbing memang ada, tapi we need to know how to deal with the situation. Okay, so the next one is regarding the project charter. Ini adalah serve as an agreement and communication tool for all the project stakeholders. So project charter ni dia akan jadikan sebagai communication tool. Okay, so dia adalah dokumen the project MOV, define the project infrastructure, summarize the detail, define the project governance and shows explicit commitment to the project. So kita boleh tengok, so this is the example. Okay. So dan saya pun ada sediakan beberapa contoh lagi project charter. Okay. So sebenarnya project charter edit ni, okay. So ini adalah the benefit. Sebab tu dia adalah communication between the project tu dengan stakeholders. So from the project charter dia boleh nampak semua. Siapa, bila, bagaimana, okay, siapa orang yang terlibat, berapa orang yang terlibat, apa skop dia, bila masa soalan skop. So this one okay. So ni MOV-nya, skop, schedule summary-nya, budget, quality, semua ada kat sini. Assumption and risk, apa potential risk yang bakal terjadi dan how we can actually kita kata overcome the risk. Okay, so that's all for chapter 4. Saya stop dulu. Okay, you have any questions for chapter 4?
Yang project charter tu ni macam dalam tajuk usaha tu ada detail dia macam subpoint gitu.
Betul. So kalau you tengok the template tadi yang saya tunjuk tadi, so itu adalah ni. So kalau kita nak kata dia sebagai project proposal, dia lagi detail lah. Lagi detail lah pada project proposal.
Faham.
Start dulu, saya buat pendek-pendek je untuk ni.